And I really am glad you brought that point up in terms of at what age do you think goalies should be able to handle and pass a puck? And is it this age, U13, Tim? Because you're doing it in a drill, must be working, and they're going to get better and more confident at handling and passing. So I think it's growing pains of learning, and they're going through it. So Hal, and then Kim.
This is really a great point. And a long time ago, I started doing, incorporating goalies into practice because they're lost, especially in minor hockey, youth hockey. So if we're doing breakouts, coming out of neutral ice and going in and breaking out with or without pressure, I'll rim it around. And the goalie's job is to go back and stop it if they can, and put it in a space or leave it and set it up for their player to come. Actually, in our game last night, our goalie picked up one of those errant long pucks that was coming down and fired it back to the blue line, the far blue line where one of his teammates was there. I think goalies need to be encouraged to handle pucks, starting maybe in peewees. I don't know. I haven't coached a peewee team in a long time. But the other thing I do, this is a kind of a fun drill. We haven't done it too much this year, but I have used it for a lot of years. It's a warm-up drill where the kids come out of the corner one at a time. First kid comes with a puck around the top of the circle and passes it to the goalie right there. Opens up and bleeds out, and the goalie passes it to the next skater coming through, and they exchange the puck. And then that player bleeds out the other side, opens up, never turns their back on the puck. And the third player comes across. So that's a timing drill also. Passes it to the goalie, goalie's got to get it, pass it. And then the goalie makes the breakout pass for those three skaters. And this is an ugly drill when they first started, but they get better at it, and the goalies build a lot of confidence. And then I have them, if they're not incorporated in some of our skating drills, which they normally are, I will have them pass pucks to each other 20, 30 feet away, chip them off the glass if they have the ability to do that. I just think the best goalies I've ever played against, and I've seen they can handle pucks as well as their defensemen can. And I think it's a really utilized skill for these kids because most coaches are focused on the other, on the skaters, not the goalies. Easy to incorporate them into these practices. So thanks for listening.
I'm not sure if if the drill you just posted was, I think we used to do one with the when you were at the Oval. I had a couple of goalie specific warm-up drills, and I can pass those on. I can share them with you, Wally. Kim's might be one of them. But the thing I wanted to interject is going back to Perry's original comment about a midget AAA team not allowing their goalies to handle puck. Like what a disservice to a couple of young goalies trying to get better, and you could take it down to Pee Wee Bantam. Goalies being able to, number one, stop a puck on a rim and set it for a D. Like, what a great skill. Number two, even better skill for a goalie, you can stop a puck, make a pass, or stop a puck and put the puck back on the glass or around the boards or someplace. Like, what a terrific skill, what a helpful skill, and what a great team skill. And I know I've told this story before, but when I started working with the Danish women's team, I noticed pretty quickly that and I loved our goalies, Lisa, Cass, Emma, Sophie, we had three real good goalies. I noticed that they would never come out of the net to stop the puck. And it got us in so much trouble. We ended up getting jammed in our zone because we didn't have a chance to get it out. The D's trying to dig it off the boards, or the forecheck gets in on top of them. So I got on Ernst, Frederick Anderson's dad was our goalie coach, and just ask them right away. Like, he just said, well, it's not really part of the game that they work on in Europe at all. I said, well, we need it. Like, we need to give ourselves the best chance for clean exits out of the D zone, that sort of thing. And all of our goalies just flourished when we actively encouraged them. Hey, if you can just get out and stop it and get it back in the net, that helps. And so they started doing that, and then bang, almost right away, both Lisa and Cass were out of the net on slow rollers and making headman passes. And it just so greatly helped our game and improved our game. So it's just really lamentable to hear coaching. It would be like me coaching a midget AAA team and saying to our D, hey, Perry, you really don't have a great shot. You can never shoot from the blue line. I always want you to dump it back in. I never just robbing a player of the opportunity to develop and get better. So that's really lamentable. It's every coach's job to really help their players get better. Sorry, Kim.
No need to apologize. And there are coaches that tell their players that, Tim. In girls hockey, even at younger ages, like, you can't rush. I'm like, ooh, scary.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. Oh, trust me, our first U9 full ice game, it was abundantly clear that the other team had told their defensemen, we don't have positions, their defensemen were not allowed to go over center. They never crossed the center line, Tim. And they were the four who, I don't know how many there were, who could not, they were their worst skaters. And they were told to stand on the red line. So
that is really bad half ice hockey.
That was full ice hockey.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's bad.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, it was not. It was, and yet we still couldn't score on them on breakaways. So there you go. Maybe it worked. They were really big pylons. I just have some thoughts on goalie integration. It's a bit of an art, one that I didn't probably master till much further in my career. Perry said it, you got to communicate with the goalie coach if they're there. I've been fortunate to have some very good goalie coaches when I'm the skills coach and when I'm the head coach. And now those are different environments, but there's definitely times I'm skills coaching the team at one end and there's the goalie coach at the other end. And then the head coach is floating around. That one's probably the toughest to manage because you have a lot of competing priorities. But, skills coach and head coach, depending on what skills you're doing, right? Of course, how do you integrate the goalies? Are you just getting the coaches to, there's times we're working on skating or working on a particular skill that I can't integrate the goalie necessarily. And then you've got the assistant coaches or the head coach warming up the goalie on the other end. So I think it's important at the minor hockey level that we give our coaches some basic goalie type drills that they can do. It became very apparent to me when I first started doing that some of the guys were just taking clappers at these kids as their warm up while I was doing skating stuff at the other end. I was like, oh, we might need to give you a little bit more guidance, even if it's just 3 or 4 drills. So that would be my first thing. Don't assume that they know. And also communicating with the goalies. If I'm there as a skills coach and the goalies are going to be integrated in a particular way, hey, we're going to do a bunch of rims here, or you're going to get a ton of 2-on-0s. Sorry, not sorry. Or even just as they're warming up, skating around, just touching base with the goalies and giving them an idea of what to expect in practice, I think is thoughtful, especially if you know that they're just not going to get a lot of help if we're just working on entries all day. They're going to be in trouble. I forget who said it, but way too many flow drills. I think there's 1 flow drill I like, or 2 now, although I used to use a lot more, but so many shots off entries, right? And again, I only coach the girls. The percentage of those shots that go in are infinitely low, right? It's just, we don't want to shoot through screens. We want to get a completely open shot. We pass when we should be shooting. It's not good. So it's really that second opportunity off the rebound or off when we, test to see if the glass is working and we miss the net. Those are the ones for my players that we're going to score more goals on. They're also the shots our goalies are going to see more of in a game situation because those shots off entry aren't typically going in or generating even a scoring chance to begin with. So I would say, adjust your drills based to what your team is seeing from your competition. What I'm seeing in competition, say for our U9 team is like, well, I guess our goalies need to be able to stop breakaways because that seems to be where the lion's share of shot opportunities are coming, right? There's not a lot of shots through screens in U9 at this level. But I would say when I go in and coaches are saying, well, we can't score, and they look at their practice plans and I'm like, well, all you're ever doing is working on shots off entry, or our goalie always gets beat. Well, what kind of goals is she getting beat on? Well, usually not clear ones off entries, usually the messy stuff from down low. So even just starting drills where pucks are below the goal line, or as someone said earlier, right, those second pucks that you throw in after they do the little flowy part of the drill, the ones you put behind the net, the ones that make you have the goalies play. That's obviously a little bit of the art of coaching, but just having experience. And I'm a big fan of, even if you are doing kind of flowy warm-up drills, everything's got to be below the knees, or you're only shooting block or side, or it's got to be a backhand. Like when you tell them it's got to be a backhand, it's very eye-opening how horrific many of their backhands are, right? And also the goalie's inability maybe to track the backhand effectively. But, those are little tidbits I give our coaches, just to enhance their practices, whether it's them or their skills coach there or with their goalie coach. But, all those little bits help in terms of giving them a better experience. And Tim, that 2-on-0 goalie pass is not a warm-up drill for us, but it is by far the most requested game by the players that we have. And other than Ring of Fire, where like the goalies are just getting a million shots on that little 3-on-1 off center circle, but you don't make a lot of friends with the goalies with Ring of Fire. But they like the goalie pass too. So that one's a fan favorite. So I figured I'd share.
Stop the puck, goalie. Stop the puck.
Yeah, it's how, really, I've never done it my whole life, Perry. Ever. 0% experience. 0%. Couldn't tell you. And if I tried it now, I'd probably never get back up. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Rick. Rick.
Yeah, I just want to hitchhike a little bit. Perry and Tim, yourself, Kim, all brought it up. Coaches that are narrowing the training field for their teams. For me, what our coaches should be doing, what all of us should be doing, is in introducing and instilling all of the aspects of the game, whether it's goaltenders wandering, goaltenders initiating breakouts, players, the one that Kim referenced where they don't allow them to go beyond center ice because obviously they're not capable of getting back quick enough, I'm assuming. But too many coaches are trying to win for today or win for this season in any way they can with the assets and player talent that they have, and overlooking the fact that their primary objective is to prepare these kids to move on to the next team, to give them as broad a knowledge and as broad a skill set as they can possibly instill so that they're ready to encounter anything that comes from the next coach and the next level of competition that they get to. And I think if we can get that point across to a lot of the coaches, particularly the new ones, because they're more susceptible to learning, we're going to do a better job for the kids that we're working with.
Wally, so...
Sorry, Tim, if I
go ahead,
just
Rick.
finish. Yeah, no, I had a second thought there. The idea of players making mistakes, so you bench them or you forbid them to be able to do certain things because they don't do them well. I've often given, in fact, in a practice the other night, I was working with a team. If you're not making any mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. Only by making them will you learn from them. I'm not encouraging you to make them over and over again. I'm encouraging you to learn from them, but you've got to have that experience personally to understand the consequences of that mistake and how to do it right the next time or do it better the next time. There may not be a right way, but there's obviously going to be a better way. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, no problem. And Wally, I was just gonna say, Wally, remind me sometime if I forget. I will send you on paper a PDF of the goalie warm-up drill that we used to always do. There's a rim pass that's a 2-on-0 drill, and there's a one where you spot the puck to the goalie, and it's actually a 1-on-0 with a fall, but it's a flow drill to actually let the goalies practice handling the puck. and obviously to just for 5 or 8 minutes let the players loosen up a bit, get a sweat going. But it's a good